You're listening to Brain Lenses. I'm Colin Wright. There's a certain amount of subjectivity involved in any medical diagnosis. Most immediately, diagnoses are almost always, initially at least, partly based on the patient's subjective experience of whatever seems to be happening to them. Their stomach hurts, their gut won't settle down, they have a headache, etc. The patient's ability to parse this internal data and relate it in ways that are meaningful to medical professionals can influence how those professionals treat them, both in the sense that they may think it's something that needs serious treatment or not, but also in the sense that these seeming symptoms will determine the course of action said professionals will take in attempting to ascertain and treat their patient's seeming ailment. There's also subjectivity in the medical professional's assessment of what's going on, though. Different types of medical professional might hear, "It feels like my skin is on fire," differently based on their specialty. A neurologist might initially assume some kind of neuropathic pain, while a dermatologist might wonder if they suffer from psoriasis. Likewise, an individual practitioner's past experiences, working with communities that are accustomed to dealing with chronic pain, for instance, and where such symptoms may thus be understated by the patient, might influence their interpretation of what their patients tell them, and what any labs or scans indicate, secondarily. This latter type of subjectivity is perhaps especially evident in the world of mental health, where there aren't as many objective measures. Blood tests, brain scans for common conditions, but medical professionals must still assess and categorize symptoms if they want to help their patients. A working paper published in late 2024 looked at a possible relationship between the Halloween holiday and the diagnosis of ADHD in children. This study found that there's a 14% increase in such diagnoses in the 10 weekdays surrounding this holiday compared to the rest of the year. The primary implication of this study, which still needs to be finished up and officially published, so take this with a grain of salt, is that doctors may be more likely to diagnose ADHD, which often manifests as hyperactivity in children, during this period, because kids are generally just a lot more hyperactive around holidays, and the mountains of sugary goodies kids tend to indulge in around this time might play a role as well. The secondary and more fundamental implication of this study, which looked at data from more than 100 million doctor visits, is that medical professionals may be misdiagnosing things like ADHD based on the circumstances of the day in which their patients come in for a visit, rather than more objective and thorough rationales. This could conceivably apply to other such diagnoses too, because, as I mentioned, it's not always possible to objectively assess mental disorders with a test or scan. Many of them are diagnosed based on the reported experiences of the patient and the learned judgment of their doctor. Just as it's been shown that judges are sometimes more lenient after lunch, the so-called hungry judge effect, then, it's possible that a fair number of medical diagnoses are subjectively skewed based on unrelated variables, and that in turn, some of the assumptions being made, anything else the patient does or says being viewed through that lens from that point forward, and some of the treatments being deployed might be misaligned with the actual needs of the patients who have been accidentally but officially miscategorized in this way. I'm able to present Brain Lenses in both its written and audio formats ad-free because of support from listeners like you. If you're enjoying what I'm doing here, consider becoming a paid supporter for the cost of a cup of coffee each month at brainlenses.com.